Just trusting it. Before in OTAs, Coach Nate really expressed running in that dark room in this front, you really have to just trust your technique, make the steps look the same because we're really jumping off the ball and we're looking at the ball. So once we're getting off, we technically don't really see what's in front of us until we take like our second step. So, really just trusting our steps and, just doing our thing.
Oh, absolutely. I love to get my pads nice and hot, nice and warm, and absolutely just being able to get that true game speed. Practice is great, but at the end of the day, the game tempo will be super different.
Hello and welcome to Grand Park, home of the Colts training camp. I'm Joel A. Erickson. This is Nate Atkins for IndyStar. The last couple days, some trouble in the passing game for the Colts, specifically with drop passes, and a couple of the guys that had been taking steps forward in that receiving core, Ashton Doolin and Paris Campbell. Rough days today in different ways. Paris Campbell, just so you know, didn't really practice that much today. Marcus Brady said something about a tight hamstring, but that's really what we got. And then obviously Doolin just kind of struggled today. He had some issues today.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he had one really nice play in the one-on-ones where he won a jump ball back shoulder route, and that's what he's mostly done. And then it didn't carry over from then on out. The offense was better in other ways. I thought Desmond Patman had the first kind of day I really took notice of today, but yeah, it's not been as crisp as it was before the pads. We keep saying that, but that's been consistent. And there's some, especially the rookies, I think are struggling with that transition. Alec Pierce and Jelani Woods, both times whenever they kind of have a physical encounter, they don't tend to come down with it. The one guy who's been an exception to that is Drew Ogletree. He just plays very physical, but a lot of the young players are really getting challenged right now physically, and that's where they got to get better.
I thought even beyond physically, 2 interceptions today for Matt Ryan. Both times it felt like it had something to do with a miscommunication or a just a missed route, because Ashton Doolin cut off his route to the sideline. Ryan threw deep. Julian Blackman picked him off. The second one was Michael Pittman Jr., who otherwise had a good day. He had 5 or 6 catches in 11 on 11. That's a lot for one day. But he was going up the seam against Dallas Flowers, an undrafted free agent corner, and he just kind of stopped his route with the ball in the air, and Dallas Flowers picked it off. That's the kind of thing that you knew was coming, that they've talked about, that they need to understand where Ryan wants them and how to get there. But that's how interceptions happen, is sometimes when there's miscommunication on a route and then the ball is free for someone to go get.
And right now, this defense is pouncing on that. I mean, that's part of why this is getting exposed. This defense feels very locked in, especially whenever it's their first-team defense against the Colts' second-team offense. It is just a complete and utter mismatch. So some of that is that they're really getting tested in that way, is that if you don't run the right routes, you're going to probably get picked off. But, yeah, some of that was bound to come. That's where it's got to get better, especially with a guy like Michael Pittman Jr. I mean, they've got to get that connection down. And like you said, for the most part it is. But there are plays like that they've got to find – they've got to find the chemistry to create those explosive plays, because that's really the one question left in this offense is, do they have enough explosive passing game plays? They're going to have to come from Michael Pittman Jr.
Important to note that those 2 interceptions on 11 on 11, those are the first 2 Matt Ryan has thrown all camp in 11 on 11. That's 2 in something like 90 attempts so far. So it's not like this has been an issue for Ryan over and over again. But today specifically, miscommunications leading interceptions, some other issues in the wide receiving core. We'll see how they fix that in the last 2 practices before they head up to Buffalo for the first preseason game. For the Indy Star, I'm Joel Erickson. This is Nate Atkins.